Well, hey guys, just sipping on a little of my Bustelo here in Totoro. I just cracked into yet another jar of my beauty dust. So heading into 2018 on a great note. Got the pearl powder is shining. So, you know, yesterday I filmed a video for you guys. The Q&A was all about tretinoin for melasma and hyperpigmentation. Talking about kind of what to expect, how it works, how well it works, how it stacks up against hydroquinone, and how it performs along with hydroquinone and combination creams like Triluma. And a lot of the information that I gave in that video applies not only to melasma, but also something called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, or, you know, dark spots, hyperpigmentation, pigmentation concerns, either on the face or the body. So in today's video, let me just set Totoro down there. He doesn't want to get too unruly. You guys have got to get one of these in your life. So in today's video, I wanted to share with you guys just, you know, kind of some tips and like just sort of general overview, I guess, of how to fade dark spots, how to fade hyperpigmentation, what to expect. You know, if you're somebody out there dealing with hyperpigmentation, I want to emphasize that you're not alone. It's actually one of the most common reasons that people visit a dermatologist is for concerns about post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And more often than not, what happens when they arrive at the dermatologist for the first time is the dermatologist identifies that they have an ongoing and active inflammatory skin condition like acne, for example, or psoriasis, types of eczema. Maybe they have what's called a contact dermatitis, either something that they're putting on their face that they're allergic to, or something that they're putting on their face that they are becoming excessively irritated from, like a cosmetic or a cream or, you know, a fancy high-end skincare product more often than not. And so the dermatologist is able to identify that, help to remove that insult, and that insult is often what is the source of the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, okay? So, you know, going to the dermatologist is actually probably one of the most important steps that you can take to, you know, embarking on a journey to getting rid of dark spots and hyperpigmentation. I do realize, guys, you know, I'm not completely naive to the fact that it is hard to get in to see a dermatologist, period. You know, depending on what your insurance plan is and, you know, kind of your financial situation, it can be daunting. I think many people are under the impression that they simply cannot afford it. And my overarching tip, I guess, in pursuing one, at least here in the United States, I can't speak for other countries, would be to seek out, if you have a medical school in your city or in a city nearby where you live, contact the medical school and see if they don't have a department of dermatology, and within the department of dermatology, if they don't have a residency training program, okay? Because oftentimes in those programs, you know, doctors who have completed their training to become doctors and are now in the portion of their training where they become dermatologists, they, you know, function just like dermatologists under the supervision, excuse me, I've got a little allergy in the back of my throat, under the supervision of what's called an attending physician, so somebody with experience. And they often do so in clinics structured to, you know, meet more of the needs of underserved populations, or just general population that doesn't, you know, have the insurance that, you know, will allow them to see a dermatologist. So that's actually a good starting point. You know, you get very good care in those settings. It's often a good place to start. They tend to be more able, I will say, to work with whatever spectrum of kind of insurance thing that you're coming from. So that would be my tip in pursuing a dermatologist, rather than just assuming that you can't afford one out of pocket, because those types of clinics tend to be able to work with you a little bit more, okay? Oftentimes though, guys, you know, at a medical school in a department of dermatology, they will have a faculty member who solely does hyperpigmentation and melasma and these types of concerns that you have. So there's a good chance that, you know, not only could you be seen there in a way that is affordable to you, and access good care, but you could also probably be seen, you know, under the supervision of an expert in your specific concerns. So I always recommend recommend at least seeking that out rather than just assuming that you can't afford to go to a dermatologist. You know, they may have a small copay, but you know, it's very, very reasonable. So I would encourage you to start there, okay? But that being said, what else is there that you should know about hyperpigmentation, and what can you do? What can you expect? So I already mentioned the fact that it's important to kind of identify the reason why you're getting the dark spots, whether it be that you've got poorly controlled acne that heals with a dark mark, whether it be eczema or something that you're getting excessively irritated by. You can't always do that, okay, yourself. Sometimes it's very cryptic as to what's going on, and so that's why I, you know, again, advise seeing a dermatologist because so long as that driver is in the mix, it's really going to be hard to get ahead of the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So it's it's also a good idea. You know, I mentioned that things that you come in contact with, that you put on your skin, that you may not be aware of, makeups, that kind of thing. If you have no clue what's going on and you can't get in to see a dermatologist, it's a good idea to take a complete holiday from all of your makeup and skincare kind of, you know, peels, that kind of thing, because one of those could be the problem. And, you know, that could be a step in the right direction. It's just eliminating everything that you're putting on your face, all right? After you've done that, though, after things are, you know, you're getting good control of whatever the inflammatory skin condition is, maybe you've completely detoxed your, you know, what you're putting on your face or what's coming in contact with your face, you have to be aware of the fact that the spots are not going to go away overnight, okay? There's really nothing that you could do to clean them, to bleach them, to get rid of them overnight. Fading of dark spots, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation takes time. The time that it takes depends on where in the skin the pigment is, okay? So hyperpigmentation, wherein the pigment is mostly in the stratum corneum epidermis, kind of top layers of the skin, that will go away, you know, much quicker than post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and dark spots that are deeper down in the skin. The same holds true for melasma, okay? If you suffer from melasma, you know, dark patches on the face, that, you know, depending on where in the skin the melasma is, you know, you can kind of set your expectation for, you know, how long it's going to take to improve. And it can be difficult to determine where in the skin it is, but, you know, do know that you may see a little bit of improvement as the dark spots and discoloration from the top layers of the skin go away, but those that are down deeper will persist a lot longer. And those that are a lot deeper, if you look at them carefully, you know, in the right lighting, like direct lighting, you know, in front of a window, for example, they almost have a bluish undertone, okay? That's called the Tyndall effect, all right? In which, you know, it's not that you're blue, you know, it's not that you've got blue marks on your face, but rather the way light is scattered and that it meets your eye and your brain perceives it, it actually looks blue. It's called the Tyndall effect. But so, you know, that's a subtle clue. Pigment and discoloration that has a bluish tint, that's a lot deeper in your skin and is going to take a long time to improve and may not go away completely, okay? But I would say overall, in general, if you eliminate the driver, you stop putting stuff on your face, and you kind of take a break from everything, it can take, you know, you may see some improvement around 3 months, but generally it's a journey of 6 to 12 months before you completely, you know, really see an improvement. I use myself as an example in this. I started using Differin, which is a retinoid, in January of 2017. So I've been using it a year. And I would say about 6 months after starting using that, I started noticing some subtle brightening kind of effects and some slight fading of some long-term persistent post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation that I personally have on my face as a result of my teenage years using the St. Ives apricot scrub. So yeah, bad news bears at that one. That's one that if you're using, stop doing that, because that caused my post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation for sure. Yeah, it takes a long time. I mean, okay, so I had eliminated the St. Ives years ago. You know, I've been wearing sunscreen, which is something I'll talk about in a bit. I've been wearing sunscreen diligently, like every single day for years, for decades. Still had the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and not until I started the retinoid and was doing well on the retinoid and there was no irritation from the retinoid, you know, 8 months down the road, then I started saying, hey, didn't I used to have some dark stuff over here, and I don't really see it as much anymore. Okay, so that's just my personal journey. Everyone's going to be different, you know, so I can't speak on behalf of you. You know, it's all very individualized, and like I said, it depends on where in the skin the pigment is for you. And in my case, the pigment that I saw that faded probably was, you know, up higher in my skin. But, you know, regardless of what you do, okay, treatment begins with sunscreen. I belabor this point in pretty much every video of mine, and that's kind of my agenda on here, okay, is pushing sunscreen, because I know for a fact, you know, as a dermatologist, that whatever you pursue in, you know, treating your hyperpigmentation, melasma, dark spots is kind of futile. It is futile if you don't have rigorous sun protection on board. I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm just going to reiterate it today. Sunscreens that you should be using are those that are zinc or titanium dioxide here in the US. They offer good protection against UVB, definitely the wavelength of sun that burns our skin and that contributes to skin cancer. But they also offer fairly respectable protection against UVA, okay? And for you guys and gals out there battling post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation melasma, UVA is something that you definitely need to be cognizant of. That is a key driver in post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and melasma. It is not the wavelength from the sun that burns you, okay? You will not perceive UVA in your mind, okay? You will not, there's not a sensory response to UVA, okay? You don't feel it or anything like that. It's just hitting your skin, aging it, and contributing to discoloration, wrinkles, and also can contribute to skin cancer, okay? So UVA protection is important, you know, for everybody, but definitely in the setting of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation melasma. Here in the US, sunscreens that contain zinc or titanium dioxide in them offer good protection into those wavelengths. However, they have the shortcoming of the fact that they don't really have much cosmetic appeal, okay? So they leave behind this unsightly white shield. I, you know, completely sympathize with that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that white cast. It is unsightly, okay? So there are formulations where they microsize the particles to get them to blend into the skin a little bit better. Those are nice. And, you know, then you're kind of left with the other type of sunscreens, which are the chemical sunscreens. And here in the US, our chemical sunscreens, the filter within them that protects us for the most part against UVA is avobenzone, okay? It does a decent job of that. However, it degrades pretty quickly, all right? So, you know, regardless of what the sunscreen that you have chosen is, I think a really, really important thing for you to understand is that you have to continuously reapply it, because you know, A, you wipe it off throughout the day, even if you don't realize it, you certainly do, and B, you know, the coverage is just not lasting, the protection is not lasting. The third component that you should look for is something called iron oxides, and that tends to be present in your tinted sunscreens and your mineral makeups. Iron oxides protect a little bit more into the visible range of light, and visible light, we're finding out, actually can contribute on a low level to post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and melasma and dark spots. So selecting a sunscreen that contains zinc, titanium dioxide, and iron oxide really is, you know, kind of your BFF, if you will. And the iron oxide, the tint to those sunscreens can kind of help with that white cast. So I can list some down below. Admittedly, I'm not impressed with the color spectrum that they offer. So, you know, please share if you have a tinted sunscreen that you use and like, and let me know if it comes in, you know, more than light, medium, and dark, because to me that's just not enough. I mean, people come in far more shades than that, and so, you know, we need more of a spectrum. But with sun protection, not only is it the SPF, not only is it the sunscreen, but it's also just not like sunbathing and going out and like laying out, you know, all day in the sun. You know, wear a hat, embrace wearing a broad brimmed hat and looking like, you know, kind of a little baddie. Your skin will thank you for it. So it's being cognizant, it's those behaviors that are really necessary for everybody, but key definitely for getting rid of dark spots. For sure. And I can list some of my favorite sun protection down below as well. But after you've done those things, you know, the next thing is like, well, what other creams are there that can like bleach the skin, that can brighten the skin, that can lighten the skin and impart a brightening effect? There are a few ingredients that are very effective at helping along the way, and you know, they can inhibit some of the biology of pigment cell production, and that kind of thing. Yesterday I talked all about tretinoin for this, so I'm not going to go into that. Tretinoin in the United States is available by prescription only, and Triluma likewise I talked about yesterday. So if you missed that video, go check it out. I talk about tretinoin and Triluma. They're both great for melasma and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and I talk about their, you know, individual shortcomings and that sort of thing. So I won't get into that here. As far as hydroquinone, I talked a little bit about it yesterday. I've talked about it in other videos. Hydroquinone is safe, however, it does have side effects of, you know, irritation, and when used on a long-term basis, it can actually cause something called pseudoachronosis, wherein you know, it has some off-target effects on certain enzymes in the skin and can leave these kind of deposits in the skin and result in discoloration of the skin. And that is, for the most part, although not exclusively, seen with using high percent strengths, like higher than 4%, for example, for an extended period of time, like greater than a year, okay? There's a lot of controversy around hydroquinone. You know, it's been banned in many countries and over-the-counter products. You know, there's a lot of fear around it. And but for the most part, what we know about its safety, it's been used for a long time. I get a lot of questions, does hydroquinone cause cancer? No, it doesn't. The biggest risk with hydroquinone, honestly, is the irritation and that potential risk of ochronosis with long-term use. So generally, it's cautioned that hydroquinone not be used continuously for more than 16 weeks at a time without a break, and definitely not continuously, you know, for like greater than a year, okay? And so people always want me to address, you know, the nuances of that, like, well, like how many weeks of a break and going back to it. And that's something you need to discuss with a treating physician, period, because depending on how irritated you are from the hydroquinone, it may be something you should never go back to. But maybe you got a little irritation, you took a break from it, the irritation got better, and the physician felt like the hydroquinone could be resumed, okay? So it's very individualized, but do know that it can help a lot. It's kind of the gold standard for these things. But it does have that risk, and you know, in over-the-counter products here in the U.S., it's sold in a 2% strength. The 4% strength that you can get in a prescription is, you know, a lot more effective. And then in combination with tretinoin and a corticosteroid and Triluma, as I mentioned yesterday, is very effective. Okay, so you know, you can get hydroquinone in many like bleaching creams, Ambifade cream, but just be aware of the fact that you don't want to be using it for like greater than 16 weeks without taking a break from it and kind of reassessing things. So that would be my recommendation. The other cream that is available by prescription here in the US, you can also get it in a variety of over-the-counter things, is something called azelaic acid. The brand name of that drug here that's available by prescription is Finacea. FYI, that one is considered safe to use in pregnancy. The rest here are hydroquinone is not, whereas Finacea is. Retinoids are not, whereas phenacea or azelaic acid is, okay? So, you know, if you're dealing with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation worsening melasma in pregnancy, as can often occur, you know, azelaic acid is safe, okay? As far as your cosmetic creams, things that, you know, you can get like in Sephora, you can also get in the drugstore. One ingredient that's very helpful is licorice root extract, or glycyrrhizate. That can inhibit some of the pigment cell turnover biology and impart a brightening effect, as can an ingredient called kojic acid, okay? This is like, you know, all natural, but it actually does work quite well. Kojic acid, glycyrrhizic acid, mulberry extract. You'll find these in a lot of bleaching creams. You know, they're not, don't expect a revolutionary outcome, okay? They, at best, can have a subtle brightening effect, okay? And the other one that is helpful is soy extract, like what's in Aveeno Positively Radiant. That can also have a brightening effect. It's in a variety of other things as well. A lot of the rice bran filtrates that are found in many Korean skincare products can also have a brightening effect. Personally, I noticed a brightening effect when using the Dr. Jart Ceramidin cream, or excuse me, Ceramidin liquid, as well as the cream, actually, the Help Me cream. I noticed a brightening effect with that, which I attribute to the licorice root extract in that product. Eucerin also makes a product that has licorice root extract in it that I have also noticed a brightening effect with. So you don't have to spend the big bucks on Dr. Jart. You know, you can get the Eucerin version and, you know, get that effect as well. And then lastly, you know, potentially vitamin C can be helpful as well, but, you know, vitamin C, as I said in my why I don't use vitamin C serum talk, the problem with vitamin C and vitamin C serums is that vitamin C, you know, as an antioxidant at least, it's not particularly stable in serum form, and so, you know, they talk about using ferulic acid and all of these things to stabilize it, but really the risk with vitamin C serum is that because it's not so stable and it can oftentimes oxidize, it can really be more irritating than anything. And so, you know, I often I'm like, I don't really see the point of the vitamin C serum. It's not stable, it tends to degrade and be irritating, like, and then they're expensive. The vitamin C serums are expensive. Vitamin C in a cream, I guess, can't hurt, but honestly, I haven't really been wowed by vitamin C creams. I mean, comment below on if you're using some vitamin C cream that has revolutionized your life. I'd love to know about it and perhaps try it out myself, but yeah, I'm not aware of any that I would like strongly recommend, but licorice root extract, on the other hand, does impart a brightening effect and can be helpful. Likewise, niacinamide. I have a video on niacinamide in skincare and, you know, all of its benefits and what you should know about it, so check that out if you're interested. I'll list it down below. But niacinamide is probably one of the cheapest ingredients in moisturizers. It's frequently in moisturizers, so if you're using a moisturizer at nighttime that has niacinamide in it, that can have a brightening effect as well, okay? So I will list these down below in the description box for you guys, you know, to kind of peruse, and please comment below on if you use any particular cream that has helped with dark spots and melasma. I'd love to know about it. I'm really interested in trying these things out for you guys and reviewing them, because you know, it can really be a battle to pick a brightening cream out there. The last thing that I would caution you against, however, is getting things like tretinoin or retin-A or, you know, Triluma bleaching creams online from pharmacies without a prescription. You know, these can be really, really dangerous, okay? There are many reports of a lot of these products having high levels of mercury and, you know, causing skin problems as well as mercury toxicity, so no one wants that. There are also reports, and it has also been detected, that many of these have very, very high percentage strengths of super potent steroids, topical steroids, which can thin the skin, cause all sorts of problems on your skin, and if absorbed systemically can even have systemic effects. So please, 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 you know, I know it can be frustrating, I know it can be tempting, you can't get in to see a physician, maybe they, you know, don't want to give you the prescription, whatever, but please don't go this route. It can be so dangerous, and you know, it can have scarring effects on your skin as well as systemic effects, and it can really be dangerous. So, you know, I would just caution you against doing that. Personally, I've just seen nothing but badness come out of that, so I advise you not to do that, all right? You know, if you're in your country and some of these things are available over the counter without a prescription, that's fine. I'm specifically referring to like online pharmacies where they're like, oh yeah, we'll send you the drug without a prescription. That never works out well, and it's always kind of scary to me. So, you know, please give that some second thought. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. You know, the next couple of videos will all be sit-down videos this week. I've got videos on my favorites from 2017, both in the realm of skincare as well as like kind of lifestyle and fun things. Imagine who will have an appearance. So fun here, but that's coming up for you guys. The Q&A on Friday, noon Eastern Standard Time, as always, will be this week on hormonal acne, something you guys have been has been highly requested. So I hope you enjoyed that video. And I hope you liked this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.